Sean and Leslie Lowe, with content connecting our community. You're watching NonStop Local KHQ at 6.
And we can confirm tonight Avista Utilities is working toward partnering with an unnamed company to build and power a data center in Spokane County limits. Welcome to NonStop Local KHQ 6. Great to be with you tonight. I'm Sean Owsley. Well, rumors of that project have been swirling since last week when Avista filed the paperwork to partner with a large load customer, implying a demand for a massive amount of electricity. Today's news, which I confirmed directly with Avista myself, getting your response, and a lot of you have strong opinions, comments from our Facebook post just an hour ago, many of you raising concerns over costs, water usage, noise pollution, and more. Those of you who are upset are not alone. 7 of 10 Americans oppose local construction of AI data centers, according to a most recent Gallup poll. Today, I asked Avista for clarification. They got back to me with an official statement about 4:15 this afternoon, telling me the data center development could eventually pull 500 megawatts a few years down the road, or about 16% of Avista's current total power load. The customer would have to pay for the added costs, like new power supply, transmission upgrades, and other infrastructure. However, the project is not a sure bet. As part of the approval process, the Washington Utilities and Transportation Commission will review the impact on other customers and residents. Avista President and CEO Heather Rosenstrader saying they're aiming to protect the grid's reliability, avoid cost shifting, and make sense for the communities they serve.
We have fixed costs that our existing customers are paying for, and so if we have more customers or more megawatt hours that we can spread those fixed costs amongst, then that does reduce rate pressure for our existing customers. And so we do see large loads as being a way to actually support affordability for our customers.
After that statement, Avista did reinforce to the statement to us late this afternoon the Rosenstrader's comment there, saying in a statement, while the company is unable to disclose details about the potential cost to add infrastructure, at this point, Avista will structure the contracts in a way that large load customers pay for all the incremental costs. We have a great update for you tonight on the lifelong Team Egypt fan as the World Cup looms in Seattle. Well, that fan unable to get tickets to the open practice here in Spokane, but it got so much better over the last 24 hours. We received outpouring of messages of support from you since we shared his story. And today, which by the way is his birthday, he got the surprise of a lifetime. NonStop Local KHQ's Noah Bolter joins us live tonight. Good to see you, Noah. You're at Northern Quest, and you have quite the update.
Sean, this is just a fun story. These are the type of stories that make you just want to do the job so much more. Jaffer Elate, well, he's having an unforgettable birthday right now. You mentioned our coverage from yesterday about how he tried to get tickets to Team Egypt's open practice in Spokane tomorrow. He was unable to, but since we provided that coverage, I couldn't tell you how many people have reached out to me, to KHQ, even to Jaffer, finding him at work to offer him their seats to tomorrow's practice. So it's safe to say he'll be attending tomorrow, but that's not the end of the story, Sean. Take a look at this right here, a gift from the Kalispel Tribe and Northern Quest Casino, giving him 4 tickets in a suite to watch Egypt versus Belgium in Seattle on Monday. Let's show you some footage of Elate and his family receiving the gift earlier today. Not only does he have a sweet view of the game, but he's also receiving $500 to cover travel to Seattle. That money and those tickets only possible because members of the Kalispel Tribe saw our coverage of Elate on Monday and were touched by his story. Elate says he is blown away by the kindness.
I freaked out. I start screaming after I hung up the phone. I was in the room by myself, and I start screaming. A couple of people came and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I am."
I'd like to give you, of course, 4 tickets.
Well, Elate says he's had many friends and coworkers ask him, "Hey, Elate, you got any extra tickets to the game on Monday?" He says, no, those tickets reserved for his family. Live in Airway Heights, Noah Bolter, NonStop Local.
Great outcome. Noah, thank you. We've learned that 4 people cannot return to their home after this. A fire destroyed it this morning in Spokane's Hilliard neighborhood. Firefighters responded about 6:30 a.m., finding heavy fire at the back of the home, which had spread to a neighboring house. There were reports initially of people possibly trapped inside. This happened on East Sanson Avenue. All occupants were later confirmed safe, including one adult who actually had to escape through a basement window. The fire was under control in 10 minutes. It is under investigation tonight. The Red Cross was contacted to assist the 4 people displaced.
This is basically an administrative application to the state that would potentially allow the county to have the option to apply for these grant funds or to examine and potentially enact a councilmatic 1/10 sales tax for public safety as well.
Spokane County Sheriff John Knowles is trying to find a way to infuse additional public safety funding at a time when the county right now is projecting a $30 million budget shortfall in the next year. Today, commissioners voted 3-1 to back an application to the state that would allow the county to implement a 0.1% sales tax without first going to you, the voters. That tax, if implemented in January, could generate $17 million for the sheriff's office. State law only allows counties of a certain size to do this, but there are restrictions on how funding generated can actually be used. The sheriff told commissioners he would use the funds to help retain existing staffing levels.
Legislation basically says there's a lot of provisions that your local law enforcement agencies have to comply with to be eligible for not only the grants but to take advantage of that 0.1% new taxing authority. And so we have made sure over the last couple of months that we're in compliance with all of the regulations set forth in that funding.
Now, we should stress this is a request to the state to allow the county to implement the tax. It is not a done deal. If the state approves the application, commissioners would have to vote to implement the tax. And it doesn't run forever. You, the voter, ultimately would get a chance to decide if you want to keep paying the tax. If it happens, you would make that decision in 2028. This just in, part of State Route 17 we're learning shut down right now, right next to the Grant County Airport north of Moses Lake. Very limited information right now, but it's believed that a fire jumped the highway while burning northeast from Nepal Road. The sheriff's office warning about smoke across the roadway causing issues for drivers. I want to bring in Leslie. It's a reminder that it's not just because it's not that warm doesn't mean it's not dry in some areas. Small fires can grow into much larger ones quickly.
Yeah, it's dry out there and the winds have been kicking it throughout the last couple of days, today in particular. So let's get a look first at those current wind speeds out there because we've still got some wind advisories back towards Cadiz County all the way down into the basin. Some of the wind gusts right now, Moses Lake 34 miles per hour, Wenatchee 30 mile per hour wind gust, Ellensburg down towards Yakima anywhere from 40 to 45 miles per hour. Pendleton right now is seeing some of those wind gusts at 43 miles per hour, 37 mile per hour gust here in Spokane. So winds like this can take an ember from a fire and spread it incredibly quickly. I'm sure they will be working fast and furious to get on top of that fire. Now, in addition to that, we've seen some pop-up showers and some isolated thunderstorms throughout the afternoon as well. That was our thunderstorm threat. This is a current look at our satellite radar between Republic and Ione. Right now we have a little cell that has popped up and then a little band that has popped up through north central parts of Idaho, really starting to shift towards the Idaho-Montana state line. So pop-up showers, isolated thunderstorms will continue into the overnight hours tonight, especially over towards North Idaho and Montana, Sean. Otherwise, we'll start to clear out. The winds they're going to hold, though, through tomorrow. We've also got some chilly overnight lows to talk about. So more on that when I see you back here in a few minutes.
That sounds like a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag, something for everybody.
All right, as long as it's not a bag of tricks. She says no promises. All right, other news tonight, and a judge lowering bail significantly for that 16-year-old charged with stabbing 5 people at a high school in Tacoma. NonStop Local KHQ's Rosemary Wright following this from the Pulse studio for us tonight. Hi, Rosemary. That student maintaining his innocence with a claim of self-defense.
Sean, prosecutors asking a Pierce County judge on Monday to set bail for 16-year-old Waleed Asaki at $250,000. Asaki is being charged as an adult. He faces 4 counts of assault stemming from events at Foss High School back on April 30th. This video from inside the school shows a fight. 4 students form a circle around Asaki after a verbal confrontation. Then they start attacking him. That's when Asaki pulls out a pocket knife and fights back.
AK was stabbed several times. Surgeons had to remove a section of his lung due to the damage. None of the victims were armed with a weapon.
Another student had a cut lip and puncture wounds to the chest. A third was cut badly enough to need surgery on his arm, and a 4th was stabbed in the back. A defense motion in court on Monday describes how Asaki was made a target after he stole a vape pen from another student. Documents say a witness tells police students were paid to fight Asaki as a result. While the teen has no criminal history, prosecutors say he's transferred schools before due to another incident possibly related to bullying. On Monday, the judge set Asaki's bail at just $250, so 1,000 times less than prosecutors' request. The judge also ordering electronic home monitoring and no contact with the victims. Asaki will be back in court in August and will continue to monitor developments in this case. Sean?
Rosemary Wright live in our Pulse studio. Rosemary, thank you for that update. We also have an update. The death of NBA player and former Gonzaga star Brandon Clark drawing a new attention and the microscope to the safety and the regulation of kratom, an herbal supplement found in his possession during an Arkansas traffic stop before his death. According to the New York Times, Clark was arrested after deputies found bags of kratom and 7-0 in his vehicle, substances that can bring felony charges in that state, the state of Arkansas, but they are sold openly and freely in many other states. His death sparking debate about kratom among advocates and critics. Missouri's Attorney General telling the New York Times the marketing of kratom is a major concern. In a statement, she said, quote, "Too often these products are marketed in a way that downplays their potency and potential dangers, particularly to athletes, young people, individuals dealing with pain, or those recovering from addiction." Toxicology results in Clark's case are still pending tonight, but the substance was recently banned in Spokane, Spokane Valley, and Kellogg, Idaho. All right, here's a live look in at the Fox Theater in downtown where the 2026 Spokane Youth Sports Awards are taking place. Always a great event. There you see Austin and AJ helping host, celebrating the best of high school sports in our area. This, if you'd like to watch it in its entirety, streaming right now, swxlocalsports.com. We'll re-air it after our Hoop Fest coverage on June 27th and June 28th, celebrating the best of the best here in our community. Still to come here tonight at 6, speed restrictions may be coming to the main road on your commute. We'll tell you which ones city leaders are thinking of changing.
And a live look over Spokane. Pop-up showers and isolated thunderstorms remain as we head through the next couple of hours. We'll get a look at that. Some chilly temperatures overnight tonight, but then there's a big warm-up on the way. Stick around. We'll see you back here after the break.
Well, Spokane City Council members are considering lowering speed limits from 30 to 25 miles per hour on several arterial roads. The proposal from the city's traffic engineer would impact roads like Sunset Highway, Perry Street, and Mission. Some council members are raising concerns about drivers diverting into neighborhoods. A senior traffic engineer says data from Seattle and Toronto shows lower speeds can reduce crashes.
If you have a 30-mile-per-hour street and you take it down to 25 for a half mile, you're adding 10 seconds in travel time.
Traffic planning engineer also says cutting through neighborhoods would slow drivers due to uncontrolled intersections. If approved, the speed reductions could begin in October. All right, moving to that full, in-depth, detailed, specific forecast with Leslie.
Very specific. It will be very specific.
I felt like all of a sudden I was no longer your co-anchor and I was your hype man.
I was like, nice, thank you.
Okay, just selling it.
How about if we hype up a few people? Because I always love to ask Sean where people are watching from, because it's really fun to hear. So Terry in Wallowa Lake right now. We have got Ross in Cooley City. We've got Debbie right now up on the South Hill. So again, we've got lots of people that are out and about watching. So we're going to fix my microphone and hopefully it's going to be just fine. Can you hear me now? Okay, I thought I could hear myself, so I thought I was fine as well. So anyway, saying hi to lots and lots of people. 67 degrees. That was our high for today. So daytime highs a little bit below our averages for this time of the year. Average high is 72 degrees, and boy, it has been blustery out there throughout the afternoon with wind gusts upwards of about 37 miles per hour here in Spokane, about 23 miles per hour in Coeur d'Alene. Back towards central Washington, that's where we're seeing the strongest of winds. Of course, we're watching that fire that is just north of Moses Lake, and wind gusts right now anywhere from 30 to 35 miles per hour, anywhere from 40 to 45 miles per hour for Ellensburg into the Yakima Valley. As far as radar goes, we've got a few pops, so we are seeing some isolated thunderstorm activity out there. Up across, again, you can see the Canadian border in the northern mountains. This is where we're seeing the most active weather, so I'll zoom in just out of Republic, and then just to the north of Colville, we've got a couple of lightning strikes there. Within these little lines, we've got those brief heavy downpours as well as some gusty outflow winds. So that will continue to be problematic as we get you into the next couple of hours. So keep an eye on the sky. Everything quiets down, though, as we head into the overnights. Overnight lows, though, they're going to be chilly. We're talking about temperatures down into the low to mid 30s as we head into the overnights for areas up across the northern mountains. So cover up those sensitive plants. Here is the good news, is that we will be seeing a warm-up on the way as we get you into this weekend. All right, Sean?
Thanks very much.
Over to you.
Thanks very much, Leslie. Look at this haul. Your donations from this year's Help Me Haley Make a Splash swimsuit drive, all sorted and displayed for nonprofits, community resource centers, and even schools to come pick up for local families. So well done. The annual effort is a partnership with the Spokane Parks Foundation. And our community's generosity, your generosity, ensures that for hundreds of Spokane children, a new suit is one less worry this summer. Here's our Help Me Haley.
They are sorted by size right here at Teen and Kid Closet, one of the nonprofits who received these donations and are now ensuring that they are getting into the hands of children and families in our community, making their summer brighter.
Oh, good. They're already all labeled into sizes. That'll make it a lot easier.
Elisa with Audubon Elementary.
So do I just start picking and pick whatever you want?
She has a list full of students in need of a new suit.
A lot of our families, this is where they get their new suits for the summer. That it's not just hand-me-down or piecemeal, but a suit that's tailored for them. It sets them up to having a fun summer.
With one less worry for families in need, the effort is a partnership with the Spokane Parks Foundation.
This makes a difference. It's, swimsuit seems like a small thing, but it really does have an impact. Making sure that kids, first of all, can get into pools, that they're safe when they are swimming.
The brand new swimsuits.
This one is for Abdullah.
All displayed here for both the families Teen and Kid Closet serves.
This one is for their elder brother.
And also other nonprofits, community resource centers, and of course schools.
If you have a box, I did bring some bags.
To come sift through and bring back for kids.
This community always shows up, and we feel really lucky to be able to be a part of that.
The sweetest summer start.
It helps all around.
Haley Genthner, NonStop Local.
7-day forecast. We've got daytime highs. As promised, they're going to climb up into the upper 70s and 80s just in time for the weekend.
Live from the Northern Quest Sports Studio. This is SWX NonStop Local Sports.
It's the best time of the week. Another Fair or Foul segment where AJ Howell gets us more familiar with the Spokane Indians on a personal level. Here's AJ with some fun questions for a Portland-born player, but probably not the Portland you're thinking of in episode number 2.
Welcome to Fair or Foul with AJ Howell. Today we're talking to outfielder for the Spokane Indians, Jacob Humphrey. Let's get to it.
Fair or Foul with AJ Howell.
We heard your big personality. I'm excited to see what that means if you feel comfortable showing us today. But starting off, you are from Portland, Maine, Standish, Maine. Yep. Which one do you claim?
Standish.
Okay.
I was born in Portland and I live 30 minutes outside of Portland, so Standish. Grew up there.
We figured since we're close to the other Portland, we're going to ask you some facts, because who better to be an expert on any Portland?
Oh, gosh.
First one's pretty easy. What's the closest Northwest League team to Portland, your Portland?
Us.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
What about to the other Portland?
The other Portland?
Oregon, I should clarify.
Let's see. Eugene.
That's what I thought. It's Hillsborough.
Oh, come on.
Kind of tricky. You went to Vanderbilt.
Yep.
And you have a former teammate.
Yeah,
current teammate.
Yep.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
that? I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah, I know. It's actually crazy. I mean, it's perfect, honestly. We're roommates now. We get to play together on the field. Never would have thought I would have been back with him again, but super lucky to do that.
What is the popular collegiate summer league team with a controversial social media presence that's in Portland, Oregon?
Portland Pickles.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Everybody knows the Portland Pickles. Come on. What do you think would be like the biggest change to your game in the off season? Where have you seen the most growth?
I would just say offensively, maybe mentally as well. You know, it's a long season, never been playing 132 games. So just having fun with it every day. You know, like not every day is going to be the best. You're not going to have a great game every day, but you get to do it again the next day. So.
Does Oregon have a sales tax?
No.
Correct. Dang. You're doing pretty good. Looking at your time in Vanderbilt, I saw Coach Corbin saying, you know, you struggled with injury at one point, but you had like zero fear in the game returning. How did you get to that point where, you know, the anxiety of something happening again isn't holding you back?
I would just say growing up, playing 3 different sports, you know, and I just want to be out there. I want to compete. So it's really just not so much as a mental block, but just trusting yourself, trusting your body, and then going out there and having fun.
Being an older brother, what is it, you know, whether it's about your game or your character that you want him to hopefully mimic?
Learn to love the game, learn to, whether it's whatever it is that he decides to do, whether it's golf, basketball or baseball, just have fun and just cherish every moment.
Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for pretending like you're a true native of Portland, Oregon, even though we know Standish, shout out to Standish, is the real hometown. But appreciate your time and good luck this season.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, Humphrey and the Indians, they start a 6-game road trip in Eugene tonight. They're taking on the Emeralds, but Sean, it's always fun. She's incorporating these little different The last one, she had the catcher for the Indians doing a little framing.
I was here.
I was like,
I saw it.
I was like, this is so great. I'm behind the camera, like trying to make sure we get everything, but just so some next ones coming up are a little bit fun too.
Well, and I think what I like about the format is it's so fun. It's kind of disarming. They let their guard down. It's just a conversation. You learn more about it.
Yeah, you learn a lot about them, and you get a few laughs and a few good stories too.
All right.
So
yeah, great interview there. Love to learn about our local athletes.
Yep, exactly.
Good to see you.
Good.
I've been on the anchor desk for a while.
I know. It's been a little bit. I've been running around everywhere, but
right.
yeah.
I'm sure there's something else to do tonight.
Well, some here and there. So
Okay.
yeah.
We'll make sure you work. See you, Noah. Here's what we're working on with the 6:30, our 360 coverage, an in-depth look at the proposed changes in the Idaho Department of Education when it comes to distributing funding to schools and what challenges this new formula is facing. NonStop Local 6:30 in 60 seconds.
Sean Osley with in-depth 360 coverage of content connecting our community. This is NonStop Local KHQ at 6:30.
And we start in the state of Idaho tonight, where public education funding is more than a $3 billion commitment. It's those dollars, that money, the districts use to keep schools up and running, from purchasing books to janitorial services and everything in between. Good evening and welcome to the 6:30. Always great to have you. I'm Sean Owsley. Our 360 at 6:30 We're taking a closer look at a funding formula to distribute the $3 billion in education dollars. It's a formula that the Idaho Department of Education is looking to tweak and adjust. A process that they say will involve you, the community, with listening sessions happening statewide in Idaho. NonStop Local KHQ's Belle Lewis on this story tonight with a closer look at what's behind the formula.
Each year, the Idaho Department of Education is responsible for allocating north of $3 billion to public schools like the one behind me here in Post Falls and all across the state. Now, in the past, they've used a specific funding model, one that's been around since 1994. But headed into next legislative session, they say they're looking to make some changes.
At that time in 1994, we had 115 school districts, and many of them were very small.
Under the current funding model, the name of the game is attendance and forming classroom units.
For those smaller school districts, per our funding formula, it takes fewer students for them to generate a classroom unit than it would a larger school district.
And while this form does benefit the smaller districts, when it comes to sizing up, Greg Wilson, the chief of staff at Idaho's Department of Education, says there's some challenges.
They have a lot of the same operations, whether it's the building, whether it's keeping the lights on, whether it's staff, obviously, whether it's curriculum and books.
And the current model, Wilson explains, doesn't have the ability to account for different schooling types.
Our funding formula doesn't really account for virtual education funds.
So moving forward, the department making their rounds across the state to discuss new avenues.
We're very much in listening mode before we start putting forward concrete policy proposals.
Reporting in Idaho, Belle Lewis, NonStop Local.
We also reached out to the Idaho Education Association, which says they're also advocating for the funding formula changes. They said in a statement, quote, Idaho Education Association members have long advocated for a funding formula that better reflects the needs of the state's public school students and educators, no matter their zip code. And tonight at 6:30, we want to add an additional layer to this funding story, how students' needs could impact what is needed for funding, specifically in terms of special education.
We don't in our existing formula have any kind of accounting for it costs more money to educate a special education student. It costs more money to educate someone who comes from an economically disadvantaged family. And so for us, we are taking into account everything from coming from a small school district to the student characteristics.
Superintendent Debbie Critchfield will be in Coeur d'Alene a week from Thursday, June 18th, to meet with stakeholders in our region, educators and parents as well. Details, specifics on that meeting are up now on our website. Big Six headlines tonight. Avista Utilities confirming that their prospective long load customer that was revealed last week would indeed be a data center to be built here somewhere in eastern Washington. The project could eventually pull 500 megawatts a few years down the road. For context, Avista produces about 3,000 megawatts across its entire footprint in Washington, Idaho, and Oregon. The customer would have to pay for the added costs, like new power supply. The customer, meaning the new company, power supply, transmission upgrades, and other infrastructure. So the no bill to you, according to Avista, the new company would foot those costs. However, project said not to be a sure bet. It would take years to develop, seek approval from the state. Avista responding to recent customer questions about cost and potential benefits. Here's Avista's president and CEO, Heather Rosenstrader.
We have fixed costs that our existing customers are paying for. And so if we have more customers or more megawatt hours that we can spread those fixed costs amongst, then that does reduce rate pressure for our existing customers. And so we do see large loads as being a way to actually support affordability for our customers.
Avista did reinforce that comment. They're saying a statement, while the company is unable to disclose details about the potential costs to add infrastructure, at this point, Avista will structure the contracts in a way that large load customers pay for all the incremental costs.
If we want students to learn, we need to turn off devices.
Today, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson and education leaders put forth a proposal to ban student cell phone use at public schools across the state next year. Now, most Washington school districts, including right here in our region, already restrict cell phone use during instructional time, but the governor says a statewide ban would limit the inconsistencies in policy between different schools and different districts. The proposed policy would require students to keep their phones put away from the first bell to the last. That includes during lunch and in between class. Exemptions would be provided for students who need their phones for documented health reasons and as part of their education plans.
When phones aren't around, you notice everything else that is. At our school, we spend more time talking to each other, building friendships and relationships in the present day. Instead of texting someone who's right down the hall, we actually go down and find them and have a real conversation.
Now, this is just a proposal, and the announcement today is intended to build a coalition ahead of the legislative session in January as state leaders work to make a case for the statewide restrictions. New information emerging out of Chelan County. According to the Sheriff's Office, human remains found in a wooded area have been identified as a Tacoma woman who vanished all the way back in 1986. The remains, identified as Patricia L. Collier, were found near milepost 27 in Entiat River Road after the Sheriff's Office received a report from someone who discovered them. After an extensive search, the Sheriff's Office sent part of the remains to the King County Medical Examiner, who then positively identified Collier using a sample from a family member submitted more than 20 years ago. According to the coroner's report, because of the state of the remains, the cause of the death, they can't determine that. The next of kin have been informed, and the Chelan County Sheriff's Office has turned the investigation over to the Tacoma Police Department. To Washington, D.C. tonight, House Republicans passing a $70 billion package for the Department of Homeland Security. President Trump is expected to sign it soon, bringing cash to Border Patrol and ICE for the next 3 years. This adds to the $140 billion awarded to agencies in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill last year. For months, Democrats have refused to vote alongside Republicans without significant changes to operations like demasking ICE agents. However, Democrats largely failed, delivering the money with almost no strings attached. The House moving the bill through on razor-thin party line vote of 214 to 212. New information tonight. According to the Associated Press, the U.S. military is again striking targets, defense targets in Iran following the crash of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter off the coast of Oman. U.S. Central Command saying those strikes would be proportional in response to Iranian aggression. Here's NBC's Melanie Zanona.
President Trump ordering strikes against Iran tonight after he said Iran shot down a U.S. Apache helicopter last night. Earlier, the president said the U.S. must respond to the downing. CENTCOM says the shootdown was unjustified aggression. The chopper went down in the Gulf of Oman. 2 crew members were on board the chopper, but their injuries are not life-threatening.
The pilots are fine, yeah. And nobody injured.
They were rescued by an unmanned boat, or a sea drone, a first for American forces. Iranian media acknowledged the downing, but the Revolutionary Guard has not responded. A U.S. official confirms all indications are that an Iranian drone brought down the Apache helicopter. Since April, the U.S. and Iran have been in a tenuous ceasefire. Though the sides have traded strikes, the president has said the détente was holding. As recently as last night, he expressed optimism about a deal to end the war.
We're very close to having a very, very good, strong, powerful deal.
But also said the U.S. is ready to fight if talks fall apart.
If we go and bomb, which we can do very easily if we want, and we spend another 2 or 3 weeks bombing, they'll have nothing left whatsoever, but you won't have the Strait open for months.
Negotiators for the U.S. and Iran have been exchanging messages for months, but a deal has never materialized. The shootdown comes just days after Iran and Israel exchanged attacks for the first time since April that threatened to restart hostilities in the region. But after the president intervened, both sides backed off.
CENTCOM says both soldiers were rescued within 2 hours of being shot down, while the president says they both received medical care. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
Nick Reiner, the man accused of killing his parents, director Rob Reiner and photographer and movie producer Michelle Reiner, is seeking, through his lawyers, access to his more than $1.5 million trust fund. They claim to help pay for his defense against charges in the double homicide. Attorneys for Nick Reiner filed a petition in a Los Angeles court seeking access to his trust, which he was supposed to begin receiving years ago. The petition says that their client has been denied access despite unambiguous instructions left by his parents on how to disperse the funds in the trust. Nick Reiner has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of murder in connection with his parents' killings in December. Straight ahead, tonight at 6:30, the screwworm parasite continuing to affect Texas cattle, what it means for your grocery bill's bottom line. Straight ahead.
And a live look over Spokane. We're continuing to watch for some pop-up showers and isolated thunderstorm activity, mainly up across the northern mountains. We'll get a closer look at that. The chilly temperatures expected overnight tonight, but then a big warm-up on the way. We'll take that, right, Sean?
Right. And speaking of warm-up, have you seen this video trending? Leslie's going to react to it as well. A meteorologist forecasting in a very unique situation. We'll tell you what it is, what happened there, live on TV when we come back.
In the Northwest STEM is made possible thanks to ICCU.
Welcome back. It is Tuesday. On Tuesdays, we highlight STEM education here in our area. And Eastern Washington University's Aerospace Club is entering the 2026 International Rocket Engineering Competition in Midland, Texas. The rocket is called the Inferno Mach 2, and it's single-stage recoverable rocket built almost entirely in-house by students. It can reach speeds of over 1,500 miles per hour with an altitude of 30,000 feet. The rocket features sonic fins designed to reduce drag and improve performance at supersonic speeds. The competition runs from June 15th through the 20th with teams from around the world taking part. That's pretty cool. All right, let's get a look at that weather forecast. We are still following some isolated thunderstorm activity. Most of that is up across the northern mountains. You can see a look at our radar currently. So up towards Republic, Colville, you can see a few pops of thunder and lightning there. Just out of Ione, we've got a little cell right here, but for the most part, these little thunderstorm cells are fizzling out pretty quickly. Regardless, the lightning is always dangerous in any form, so we've got to watch that. Again, gusty outflow winds and some brief heavy downpours reported with these little cells as well. So this is midnight to night. The highest activity that we're seeing is down through parts of north central Idaho. You can see that band right there. Otherwise, we'll start to clear out. We'll look for partly to mostly cloudy skies overnight tonight, with overnight lows dipping down into the low to mid 40s between central Washington over towards Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. The northern mountains, however, are looking for some of those overnight lows that will be in the low to mid 30s, which means watch those sensitive plants throughout the overnight. You might want to cover those up. Satellite radar, again, you're seeing that little band shift off to the east of us. The strongest weather that we'll be seeing here in the Pacific Northwest is going to be over towards Montana, parts of North Idaho, and I'll show you that in a second. The other watch spot is the north central plains, and we've got the potential of some severe weather tomorrow as that front moves through. So if you are traveling that direction, likely going to run into some air traffic delays. But this is tomorrow morning, and you can see that band starting to shift through again into Montana. A little bit of activity over here for parts of North Idaho as well. But if you are traveling over towards Montana tomorrow, windshield wipers certainly required. Otherwise, we're going to call for partly to mostly sunny skies and quiet conditions as we head throughout the day on Wednesday. Now, we're also still watching for some pretty good winds tomorrow. So wind gust in eastern Washington over towards North Idaho, anywhere from 25, maybe 30 miles per hour. The stronger winds are going to hold back towards central parts of Washington. We'll see some of those wind gusts 25 to actually 35, 40 miles per hour. And those winds continue throughout our day on Wednesday before slowly starting to come down as we wrap up the work week. Our highs still well below our averages, mid 60s for Spokane, low into the 60s, Sandpoint up towards Coeur d'Alene. We barely hit the 70s in Lewiston, and then we've got low 70s from Walla Walla up through Moses Lake into Omak. 75 degrees our expected daytime high tomorrow in the Tri-Cities. And then we've got that ridge of high pressure sitting just offshore. As that nudges in, it's going to drop all of that warm air. So temperatures headed up into the upper 70s and 80s as we wrap up the work week and head into the weekend. And we'll hold on to those 80-degree temperatures with plenty of sunshine as we head towards next week as well. I'm ready for some 80-degree temperatures right now, and I think my voice is ready for a break.
All right, bring on the 80s.
It was a great decade.
It was so long
Good
ago.
hair and really great eyeshadow.
and I'm just going to go here. I don't know. What poster did you have on your wall? I'm going to say Rick Springfield.
Oh, definitely have Rick Springfield, Scott Baio.
Scott Baio?
Right, Leaf Garrett.
Really?
Yeah.
John Stamos?
John
maybe?
Stamos.
All
yes,
of the above?
All of the above. I mean, my walls were covered. I was like every other teenage girl.
Okay.
You? Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah. Jacqueline Smith.
Jacqueline
was a little
Smith.
underrated.
There we go.
My crush was Lindsay Wagner.
Oh, perfect.
The Bionic Woman.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
And I had the $6 Million Man poster, too. All right.
I knew that for sure.
Look at this, Leslie. I think you've seen this already, but a meteorologist in Arkansas is going viral for his ability to forecast in extreme situations. We've seen Leslie do this so many times over the years. This was highly unusual. Noah Simmons was live on the air tracking 2 tornadoes Saturday night when he noticed a studio light catching fire. You see the smoke rising there on the bottom right of your screen. Decided to continue the job through the incident. The haze you see there is not from smoke from the fire, but residue from a fire extinguisher that a studio producer used to douse those flames.
Based off of my judgment and based off of what was happening on radar, I made the judgment that yes, I felt I was safe. It wasn't an ideal situation, obviously, covering a tornado warning during a fire, but I felt it was in the best interest of the viewers that I could still keep the coverage going.
What do you think, Leslie?
He did an amazing job. He really did. I mean, because when you have a distraction, whatever it might be in the newsroom within our studio, it's hard to stay on track because you're ad-libbing everything as a meteorologist. Everything that is coming out of your mouth is not written down for you. It is coming off the top of your head, especially in severe weather. It's fast, it's furious, and then you're watching a fire up at one of the lights. I'm like, he nailed it.
Yeah, we've had lights actually fall all the way down while we were live on the air. We've battled a fly that seems to continue to return.
Just wants to go in our mouth.
Numerous times.
We've had fire alarms go off before.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
all part of the job.
Yeah, I thought he did great.
Yeah, he did great. All right. And you're done, Leslie.
And I will see you tomorrow, my friend.
All right. She'll be here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Measles cases in the U.S. are on pace to be the highest since the disease was eliminated nearly 30 years ago. CDC says there have been 2,030 measles cases reported in 38 states and Washington, D.C. as of June 4th. 92% of cases occurred in people without the vaccine. 72% were in children 19 and younger. Health experts agree there's been an ongoing decline in vaccinations. The United States and Mexico's measles elimination status will be reviewed in November. If you're wondering how the return of the screwworm parasite among Texas cattle affects you, economists say it might not be anything for you specifically to worry about. Experts say it's unlikely to cause an immediate spike in prices, but if the cases turn into a full-blown outbreak, that is when you could be facing steady price hikes. Beef prices are already at record highs right now due to smaller herd numbers. Time for your business headlines tonight. Here's Mackenzie Sigalos.
This is CNBC News Now. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Markets were mixed across the major indexes in Tuesday trading after the chip stock rally lost momentum and weighed down the NASDAQ and S&P. The Dow gained 86 points, the S&P 500 fell 19, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ down 1% on the day, losing 251 points. Social Security is on track to become insolvent by the end of 2032. That's according to a new report Tuesday from the trustees of the program. The report also states that unless something is done to address funding, beneficiaries will start to see a 22% cut to their monthly checks after that date. That would amount to, on average, nearly $500 in reduced monthly benefits. Anthropic announced Tuesday that it's releasing a Mythos-like model to the general public. The release comes 2 months after the AI startup released the model to a limited number of users, citing the potential for harm it could cause. Mythos has the enhanced ability to identify security flaws in software. Anthropic says the new model, called Claude Fable 5, will have new safeguards that block responses on specific topics, including cybersecurity and biology. That's today's CNBC News Now.
I'm Sam Adams with Kalai Chalk from The Wake Up Show.
Tomorrow, music to Spokane's ears. Street music takes over downtown for the 24th year, where you can see what all the busk is about and the cause behind it.
Plus, rain's in the rear view when the sunshine's coming back tomorrow.
Our one good thing tonight in the Puyallup Police Department on the west side sharing a heartwarming update on a small family they've been sharing space with. Take a look. Last week, the police department found that they were not the only ones moving into their new facility when they discovered a mother bird had built a nest inside the storage compartment of a training motorcycle. Now the department is sharing that 2 of the 4 babies have officially hatched. 2 eggs have yet to hatch, but they say they are keeping an eye on the uniquely placed nest from a safe distance. Great story. That's a wrap for the 6:30. Thanks so much for being with us each and every night. We do deeply appreciate it. I'm Sean Owsley. Take care. Have a great night.